Your destiny is in your own hands, interwoven with the threads of our actions. Every action has an effect, even on the clock of your life. Sin turns the hands of your life's clock faster, and goodness makes you eternal. The choice is yours. With which clock do you want to experience the journey of life? Sometimes on the night of Qadr, the death of a person is decreed and signed due to their numerous sins, stating that they must die by the next year. Of course, it cannot be said that everyone who dies is for this reason. One reason is that that person has fallen into a downward spiral. He commits more sins every day instead of reducing them. Their death is expedited. Why? Because God has compassion for them, to allow them to proceed to the next stage, which is the afterlife, with greater merit. They may ruin their place, but since they are Muslim and faithful, and God feels pity for them, He cuts off their lifeline. Imagine a driver who is driving dangerously and is heading towards destruction. What does the police do? They stop him. Why? For his own sake and for the sake of society. He is causing a crash, and it will bring misery upon both himself and others. When you think logically about it, you understand it. We do the same thing ourselves. If you have a fruit tree that isn't bearing fruit, you graft it. If it still doesn't bear fruit, you bring in a gardener. If it still doesn't produce fruit, what do? You cut that tree and use it as charcoal. You see? Why should we give this tree water, light, and fertilizer if it ultimately doesn't bear any fruit? Did we plant it just for its leaves? If the goal is fruit, then it's over. Therefore, this is why it is said in the hadith that sin decreases one's lifespan. This is for the believers. Sin reduces lifespan. That's why it is said that in a cemetery, those who died due to sins are more numerous than those who died of other causes. When a certain sin becomes prevalent in society, tragic deaths, sudden deaths like accidents or falling from a height increase. These are divine traditions. They cannot be changed or altered. It is we who must adapt ourselves. Where can we find these teachings? In the Holy Quran and from the hadith of infallible Imams. Your eyes should be fixed on the words, conduct, and actions of these great figures. That's why those who read the Quran well and delve into the life of the Ahl Bayt have the best performance in dealing with the problems of the country, wherever they may be. They act more precisely and draw more accurate conclusions. They can even guess the future. Why? Because they know divine traditions. They look at a society and see that the movement for justice and fairness has stopped. They say, for example, that government will soon fall. How do they know? Because they understand God's work. If a society does not value those who are trying to correct it, God will take them away. It's a tradition, because that person's presence should not be insignificant or pointless. On the morning of the 19th of Ramadan, when Imam Ali, peace be upon him, went to the prayer, he said, I fell asleep for a moment. In my dreams, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, passed by me. I said, O Messenger of God, what things have I seen from your ummah after you? Stubbornness, enmity, deviation. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, replied, Ali, curse them. Then Imam Ali, peace be upon him, said, I said, O God, grant me better than them and appoint worse than me over them. Which means take him away from the people who do not recognize his worth. If the people do not recognize that person's worth, he will be taken away. Imam Ali, peace be upon him, said, whenever I gave the order to move towards the enemy in the summer, you said, give us a little time so that the heat can subside. And whenever I gave you this order in the cold of winter, you said, the weather is extremely cold now, let the cold subside. So they wouldn't come. When preparing for the battle of Siffin to finish Muawiyah off, they created the battle of Nahrawan among the Ummah against Imam Ali. Peace be upon him. They would engage him in disputes and wouldn't listen to his words. They even mocked him. He once said, ask me questions. One among them asked, how many hairs do I have? Do you think he really wanted to know how many hairs he had? It was mockery. They didn't want his knowledge. They didn't want him. So he said, oh God, take me away from these people. Were the Prophet and Imam Ali talking on behalf of themselves here? No. The time for Imam Ali had come. The people no longer valued him, their Imam, so he had to go. Or what should Moses, peace be upon him, have done for the Bani Israel? The children of Israel were peculiar people. Prophet Moses brought them 9 miracles, but they did not believe. Stones and fire rained down from the sky. A snake turned into a dragon. The sea was split open. They were trapped in the desert, and quails came down from the sky, offering themselves for them to eat. The white hand, and so on. Miracles that were all visual and happened right before their eyes. And God took him away from the people who do not recognize his worth.